What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the No Filter podcast, or the MMAnomaly podcast, No Filter. I'm your host, Olin, aka MMAnomaly, and with me, as usual, the partner in crime here as of late, Jive Turkey, Nano. What's up, man? Welcome back.
What is up, my brother? Great to have you here, man. Great to have everybody else here. Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Today, we will be talking about UFC Las Vegas. Is that what we're calling it? Is it UFC Las Vegas?
It is officially UFC Las Vegas. It's not a numbered event. I did see that earlier. Maybe it's because it's not at the training.
It's not at the Apex.
Not at the Apex. Thank you.
Yeah.
But it is at another theater somewhere in Vegas. So UFC Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas, man. So in this one, we definitely have some actually really exciting fights. I mean, just, taking a glance at the card on the preliminary fights, we have, some really, really exciting fighters taking place on there. We got Tyson Nam going against Bruno Silva. That's going to be a banger.
Leading us off.
That's a really, really early one. That's the second fight on the card. Before that, we got Carlston Harris going against Jared Gooden. Jared Gooden is someone who was in the UFC years ago, got cut, fought his way back up, clawed his way back into the UFC. And, we love a good underdog story here at MMAnomaly.
That we do.
So, we'd love to see that fight. Victor Henry, a guy who came in, year prior against, I believe, Raoni Barcelos, somebody that nobody had heard of, wasn't supposed to win that fight, came in and dominated it. He's coming in here against Tony Gravely. That'll be a fun fight. Ariane Lipski basically fighting for her job against JJ Aldrich, who is extremely game. And somebody that I'm actually really excited about is SD Dumas, Cedric Dumas, aka The Reaper. The guy said he chose the nickname The Reaper because, just like The Reaper, he doesn't care for any of the extra BS. He doesn't care to do all the extra talking or anything. He shows up when it's his time to show up. He takes care of business, and you're dead. That's why they call him The Reaper.
Hell of a name.
Dude, the guy is 7-0. Absolute beast. If you don't mind, I'd like to just kind of jump in right there. Do you know anything about Cedric Dumas?
Hey, man, let's jump on in. And to be totally transparent here, before we started talking about this a couple days ago in prep for the video, I really did not know much about him, right? But initial thought, hey, 7-0, that's always interesting to see. But boy, did I like what I saw once I started to dive in and get a little bit more into the weeds here, I like to say. A huge shout out to the Full Send MMA podcast for doing a day in the life with Cedricus. This really allowed me to get a better understanding of the young man himself. Seems like he's very charismatic, very straightforward, and is about his business, which, hey, can't argue with that. Love to see it. And apparently this man has built quite a reputation for himself here in the local Florida area. For all of you Street Fighter guys out there, and I'm talking like getting in fights in the streets, like really in the pavement. You might have heard of, some legends, Kimbo Slice, or maybe some even more recent, Jorge Masvidals or other guys that come from the street background. Well, hey, we got the newest Street Fighter here in the UFC. So we're really excited to see what he's going to do here. A debut, you can say, coming out party, maybe we can call it. But again, only 27 years old, undefeated. I know you have a lot to say about him. So I'll let you take it from here. But man, exciting would be my one word.
Yeah, he's absolutely exciting. If I had to describe him in 2 words, I would say exciting and explosive. The kid finishes you no matter what opportunity you give him. Like, when it comes to his finishes, he has submitted people. He has head kick KOs. He has leg kick TKOs. He has made people tap out due to strikes. He has choked people out on numerous occasions. Like, any type of finish that exists in the octagon, I think, aside from a finish from the bottom, a la like Kevin Holland, he's done it. So
the man's done it. He's like playing bingo out here, just covering all his bases. Yep, check, done it all.
Yeah, he's like, oh, cool. Oh, you know what? I need to do that one. Cool, I'll do that one next.
I'm gonna have to get that. Yep.
dude is an absolute monster in there, and no matter what you give up, he absolutely seizes the moment. He seizes the opportunity that you give him, and something that we don't see often enough in mixed martial arts, that we do see in boxing, is people in boxing, they build themselves up through amateurs. They go throughout their amateur career, And like some of these guys will have like 20, 30, 100 fucking amateur wins, right? And
right.
If you look at this guy's amateur career, he's 8-1. And
Jeez.
his pro career, he's 7-0 as a result because he did the groundwork in his amateurs. So he's undefeated. He's made a hell of a career so far. Appeared on Dana White's Contender Series, earned a contract via finish there, and they're putting him up against a very game opponent in Josh Fremd. Do I think Josh Fremd is the best UFC fighter in the world? No, not necessarily. Do I think that he is the easiest first test to give somebody in the UFC? Not a chance. If he's able to get on top and get this to the ground, it could prove to be very bad for SD Dumas, but that's a very big if. And I don't know that Josh is able to get it done. As a betting man, I really like Cedric Dumas. And I think he gets it done. I think he gets it done and makes a stamp on his name in the UFC. And I think he's going to have one of the better Dana White's Contender Series debuts that we see.
I love that. I'll be rooting for it. Not sure what the odds are, but let's see what the finish is. TKO, KO. Call it early.
Maybe he'll get the one from the bottom that he's missing.
There we go. That's all he needs to complete.
Josh gets a takedown and he hammer fists him into oblivion somehow.
Hey, that can happen. That's within the paths of victory there. We've seen it.
So, again, looking at the fight, obviously there are a ton of fights on here that are really, really solid. Like the ones that I've named, I haven't even gotten through like half of the prelims, really. And there's still a main card. So before I just kind of take the reins here on this entire show, what fights are you excited about, if any? Let's get some music going. Let's set a mood here.
Let's get the vibes going. Let's get loose, a little loosey-goosey. Let's get back from the gym, so apologize for the gym shirt here. But you know what? Like you said, a few really good fights here. We are coming off of what feels like almost a hangover or almost like a dream-like state I've been in over the last week from that last card. But hey, don't sleep. Don't get into your lulls there. Go ahead and go tune into this fight because it is going to be a good card. Like you said, from the gate, that first fight we talked about, Tyson Nam against Bruno Silva is a good one. But one I actually had marked down as a potential fight of the night. There's another one that I have my eye on. However, potential fight of the night here, Said Nurmagomedov versus Jonathan Martinez. That is a fight I'm specifically excited for. I think just the more I dove into them both stylistically, hey, it's a Nurmagomedov. What more do I need to say? I think it's going to be a good one. I'm really excited to see this bout. What about you, brother?
Honestly, I think that fight is going to be a banger. 110%. I think that fight's going to be a banger. I think Said Nurmagomedov always brings the fight. The guy is 17-2. His opponent is 17-4. Jonathan Martinez is one of those guys that has incredible kickboxing. And I mean, typically his boxing is where it's at, right? Like his footwork, his ability to keep his head off the center line when he's throwing those combos, which so many MMA fighters do wrong. They throw combos and their head stays right there. Bop, 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 bop. And that's how you get knocked the hell out. Jonathan Martinez does not do that. He does the complete opposite. He does what people that practice the sweet science of boxing tend to do, where they slip as they throw. They constantly move their head off the center line. He might prove to be an issue for Said Nurmagomedov, though I think what's the reach advantage here? I know, oh my God, there is no reach advantage. It is 70-70. That's more terrifying for Said.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, man. You know, I don't love this fight for Said Nurmagomedov. Typically, like as a betting man, I would say bet on anybody whose name is Nurmagomedov.
Yeah. Well, hey,
your odds go up.
I was going to say, yeah, and just to reassure you a little bit here, I mean, hey, you're talking about Said Nurmagomedov, all right? This guy, he's only 30 years old, okay? He's in his prep and prime, okay? An impressive 17-2 record. We have 4 knockout victories. We have 5 submissions. He's currently on a 4-fight win streak. And just like all of his fellow Dagestani fighters, very technically sound, right? One thing I like about him that makes him a little different, maybe some shades of Zabit in there, but really love his spinning back fists, the back kicks, really creative and fun to watch in terms of the variety of different, looks he's going to give you in the fight. But like you said, brother, this opponent that he's matched up against is no slouch. Jonathan Martinez has given us some really fun shows to watch. The more I started to dig into his tape, does not go away. Really clean boxing, good on his feet. again, we're talking about a Dagestani Nurmagomedov. I think the wrestling and the grappling is going to be the difference here. Let's see how he fares, right? I mean, you said it's not it'll be easy for him, but at the same time, it might be easy for him. Either way, it's going to be a fun show.
100% agree. No matter what, the fans are going to win in that one. He may or may not bust our parlay this week. Spoiler alert. But you know what? It's okay. And Nurmagomedov is typically a safe bet. We can't talk about this fight and talk about Jonathan Dragon Martinez, without me giving at least an honorable mention to another young man on this fight card, somebody that I've been a fan of since seeing him on The Ultimate Fighter a long time ago. One Davey Grant, who is going up against an absolute stud in Rafael Assunção. Again, this is a fight where I think Davey Grant is able to get it done. I think he has superior footwork. I think he has superior boxing and entries with his combinations. I think he lands heavier volume typically in his fights, and if he's able to avoid the single leg and power double threat that Rafael typically tries for, he should be fine. Rafael has shown a bit of a weakness in his chin as of recent. He got knocked out by Cody Garbrandt. I mean, everybody remembers that knockout.
That thing is embedded in my memory, unfortunately. That was one of my notes.
Young man got sent into the shadow realm.
Yes. Night.
But what's crazy is he got obliterated by Cody Garbrandt, but he went the distance against Corey Sandhagen. So I mean,
and he beat Aljamain Sterling.
Like
that's the champ.
There's so many random inconsistencies in his career. He also beat TJ Dillashaw, and like it was a split decision, but I remember he beat TJ Dillashaw. Like he definitely beat TJ in that fight.
He's had over 30 fights in the UFC, so I mean he's or maybe not all the UFC, I should say, but in his pro record.
Yeah, in his pro record, yeah.
Hey,
he's had a lot of fights.
He's game. He's game.
Yeah. So again, should be a really, really good fight. Just like you said, he's got over 30 fights. Davey Grant has just 20. So it's definitely a kind of a you would say a young man versus an old man, but there's only a 3-year age difference.
Yeah, he's a little bit older, Davey Grant is. I was a little surprised to see he was 37, but he's gritty as all hell too, man. I love Davey Grant. The more I was watching him, don't be concerned by the high cheekbones and all that during the weight cut. He's fine. That's just how he looks. Okay?
That's just how he looks.
It's just how he looks, I promise. But no, he's someone that has a finish over Jonathan Martinez, the gentleman we just talked about, stud. And again, also has a couple fights against Chito Vera and Adrian Yanez. Granted, they were losses, but hey, took him to decisions. I think those are aging like a good old single barrel scotch, you know?
Davey Grant actually beat Chito Vera.
Did he beat him in that fight?
He got a unanimous decision in 2016 over him, sir.
Let's go.
And then Marlon Vera wanted the rematch on that. So he got the rematch 2 years ago, and he got the rematch back from him.
Oh, well, I should have scrolled down on that on my research then. That's why I have you, baby.
It's all good, brother. I got you.
But yeah, man, both of which, I mean, again, and even more exciting to hear, I mean, he's in his last fight, I was going to say, was against Luis Smolka.
Yeah.
Man,
the last samurai.
He smoked him. He
smoked him.
Yeah, that calf kick and then finished him with some ground and pound punches. Davey's game, man. I'm excited to see him really go out here and display his skills. Yep.
Absolutely, same. I think this is going to be a definite test for him, but one of those things where if he's able to pass that test, it's just going to be, oh man, it's going to be so fun to watch him and what's next for him, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could talk about the prelims all day, but let's go ahead and jump into the main card a little bit here. Or actually, you know what? Before we do that, I do want to touch base on Ariane Lipski. Big fan of hers. Saw her live here in her last defeat, actually, UFC San Diego. You hated to see it, truly. But she's probably fighting for her job here today or Saturday. Had a very up and down career since entering the UFC. She entered the UFC at 11-3, and I believe she was on like a 5-fight win streak. She looked to be possibly the future of the flyweight division for women, and it didn't go that way. Since joining the UFC, she's gone 3-5, 3 wins, 5 losses. Her 3 most recent losses have come by way of knockout or TKO. So the fact that she's coming in here against JJ Aldrich is not going to prove to be an easy night in the office or walk in the park by any means. Her opponent is 7-3 inside of the UFC octagon, a much more favorable UFC career so far. And she's had solid names that she's fought. Erin Blanchfield, she lost via guillotine choke to, and then she beat Courtney Casey via split decision. So those are two really, really solid names, obviously, for JJ Aldrich.
And those are her only blemishes as well. That's a solid resume, right?
Yeah. She has not had very many blemishes at all. Curious to hear how you see that fight going, or kind of, do you have any thoughts on that fight?
I do, brother. I do. Yeah, the queen of violence, Ariane Lipski, someone that caught my eye, early on for her skills, and her personality, of course. But again, has had a really tough stretch over the last few years. In true roller coaster fashion, we really don't know what we're going to see. It's tough to predict that for anybody. I don't care what you say. So we're going to see Saturday night, but I am hoping to see the best version of her. Unfortunately, it is going up against a tough JJ Aldrich, who, like you just mentioned, our only recent loss is against a surging Erin Blanchfield. She possesses a lot of threats for Lipski. When looking at Aldrich, from a stylistic perspective, very heavy base, just kind of a heavy, ground, I guess, base to her in terms of her legs, and even has that base in her stance where I think that mixed in with her willingness to push the pace in the fight and ultimately make it muddy, get inside with Ariana, show some of that strength, probably get her up against the fence, hold her, get her down, probably have her way with her is one of the ways I probably see it going. I think it's her best path to victory. Then hopefully not sure what would be next for Lipski if she does lose another one. Not sure what her contract looks like currently. But yeah, my money would probably be on JJ. I think I'm taking the favorite here.
I would agree with you, but I'm really bad at this whole betting logically thing. So if I had to bet, I would bet with my heart. I would go with Ariane Lipski. I want to see her do well.
I like it.
She looked so good when she was at KSW before she came to the UFC. She had a fight over Diana Belbita, who is in the UFC, and that fight was just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
All of her fights at KSW were so fun to watch. I want her to find that spark again, and I think if she does, we see the like vintage queen of violence in here. I don't think it's a fact of her having fought like lower level competition before making it to the UFC, and now that she's made it to the UFC, there's issues that are showing or glaring holes in her game. I just think that most of the people in this division are extremely tough, and she's had a couple of really bad stylistic matchups, and she's also had inconsistencies in her camp. Her last camp she did with Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes herself wasn't even focused on her own camp. So if you're going to a woman's gym who's running her own camp and she can't even pull off a win against Juliana Pena, I mean, what do you expect to happen to you, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a similar situation that we saw with like Brandon Moreno when he was training with the James Krause. The James Krause was in the middle of getting caught up by the FBI. How good of a training coach could he have been, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it's coaching issues. Hopefully, she's had a better camp this time around. Fingers crossed for Ariane Lipski to get that done. And I mean, again, we have a ton of fights here to go over on the main card, so we will go ahead and jump into that. Let's go ahead and jump into the main card. What's your most exciting fight on the main card?
Ooh, let's go.
Other than Said Nurmagomedov, obviously.
Oh, granted, yeah, I did already talk about that one. This is an exciting card, right? We did get that new fight dropped in here as well with Krylov versus Span. But to be honest, man, Jan versus Merab, the more I looked at that one, it's going to be fireworks. I think that might be one of the better fights of the year so far. I was trying to think before this, and I don't know if you have any other, let's say, like running fight of the year candidate so far, but this I think has the potential to be an early favorite.
Yeah,
maybe.
Before I answer, who do you think wins?
Like you said, I think we got to bet with our hearts here, right? That's what we do, right? We're not logic out the door, right? I think, hey Jen, stalling for time here because I need the time. I lean in Merab, man. I don't know what it is about that guy. The more I watched him, and I think just something about Jan and seeing just some of his most recent skids and just lack of really going out and making it happen. I just think Merab's going to go out there and grab the fight by the horns, if you know what I mean.
I think so too. I think Merab gets this done, and I 100% agree with you. I think this has fight of the night, shades of fight of the night written all over it.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be an absolute barn burner of a fight. I think for as long as it lasts. I don't think it goes the distance. I think
5 rounds is a long time.
If there's good odds on the under 4.5, we might throw a side bet on that after this episode.
We should,
because I don't think it goes the whole distance. I think everything that Merab did in his last 5 fights, he should continue to do, and he should be able to do even more in this fight against Jan.
Yeah.
Oh, Steven D's got Jan.
Ooh-wee. My guy.
I don't know, Steven.
I like him, man. I like Jan. I mean, when you watch him face Sandhagen, when you see even some of those losses, you think he might have even won some of those potentially. I'm not going to say against 2, but I think he's got all the tools, man. He's got all the tools. I do like him as a fighter. He's really good on his feet. I think that'll be maybe the neutralizer here. Merab's going to be maybe a little more cautious, although he is just so darn explosive. I think it's...
I was going to say, I disagree. I think Merab for the first 2.5 rounds is probably going to be just nonstop pressure forward.
Yeah.
Drilling double legs, drilling clinch, like just
diving at the crowd.
Nonstop diving into him. Like
darting into him might be a better word, yeah.
It's like spearing him.
Uses the cage to like launch himself into him.
He's an absolute beast. And I think, let's see what Steven says here. I think about Moraes dropping Merab in round 1. That should have been stopped. He was face down. You know what, Steven?
Moraes is a dog.
I agree. I do agree, actually. If I do recall, it's been a while since I've watched that fight, but if I recall, he did look like he was out, and then the ref gave him time to recover. And after that, Moraes basically blew his load and just got taken out of there. Happens.
Yeah.
So
he does that.
Merab won. Yeah. Merab won because Moraes was exhausted round 2. 100%. He blew his load. He had an adrenaline dump because he thought he had won the fight. He thought he had won via TKO, and it didn't happen. Didn't come to fruition. I mean, that's bad on both people, right? Or on all 3 people. That's bad on the ref for not stopping a fight whenever a man went face down. He gave him boxing rules. He gave him the old 10 count. You know what I mean? And it's bad on Merab for being dropped. And it's bad on Moraes for allowing himself to dump all of his adrenaline like that and dump all of his energy into that like situation that followed, right? Again, when you have somebody rocked, Dustin Poirier is a great example of it. When he smells blood in the water, he goes to work, but he doesn't overexert and overexhaust and overextend himself and get himself knocked out. He used to make mistakes like that back when he fought at featherweight quite often. It would piss me the hell off as somebody that, like, realistically, he's one of my favorite fighters of all time. Would piss me off. But that's another story for another episode. We're talking about Merab here, and things that he does well is wrestling, pressure, forward pressure at that. And things that melt Petr Yan, people that have good wrestling, people that have good forward pressure. We've seen it in the past before. And if he's fighting someone that's willing to go through the fire and get burned a little bit in order to land what they need to land against him, it's typically not great for him, right? Because he melts, I feel. He truly does. Like, he's one of those guys that he's almost like John Jones, where if you play into who he is and you treat him like the boogeyman that like a lot of people see him as, he's going to win the fight 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
But if you come in there and you treat him like a nobody, kind of like Dominic Reyes did to John Jones, you just treat him like another fighter, you'll probably have a pretty darn good performance against him. And I think that that's what Merab's going to do in there. I don't think it's going to be one-way traffic by any means. Steven, not trying to step on your toes. But I do think that it's going to be a pretty close fight that Merab ends up winning in round 3.
Ooh. I will say, Steven, to defend you here, brother, it's one of those things, and one of the blemishes on Merab's, I guess, fight history is his fight with Jose Aldo. People didn't love that fight. Sandhagen was questionable of it. A lot of people are. Maybe it was a little boring. Maybe he took his fight off. Maybe didn't show that he wanted to go out there and do it. Granted, he was fighting one of the best fighters of all time. I mean, maybe, like you said, maybe there's a little bit of that John Jones effect. Who knows? And Jose Aldo did a great job of defending a lot of his takedowns. Like, that was hell of a fight in terms of his defense. But yeah, like maybe he comes out slow. Maybe you see that version of Merab. That'll play more into Jan's hand there. It is a 5-round fight. I don't know if Merab, was that Aldo fight 5 rounds? I don't know if Merab's gone 5 yet. So maybe that's something we can look into or confirm if maybe it's, can he keep up the cardio, or, you know, has he been able to go 5 or show that he can keep that same Mauler-like mentality? I guess that's something we can confirm, but otherwise, yeah.
No 5-round fights, other than 2012, back before he made it pro.
Okay.
He had a 4-round unanimous decision in 2012, amateur. That's wild.
We haven't seen it yet. I know. Geez, 10 years ago, over.
Like most people fight 1 round or 2 rounds when they're fighting amateur MMA fights. This guy was like, yeah, I'll fight 4 rounds in the mountains in Russia.
Yeah. Forget the time limit. To the lights go out. To the crack of dawn.
Battle. It was at RDMMA, Battle in the South 4. That's amazing. Like, what a name for an event. Battle.
I know. UFC should start doing some fun.
That was in North Carolina.
Like, oh.
Wow. Totally random.
There we go.
Totally random. Let's see here. He just responded bad to hard punches, and Jan has those for 5 rounds. And no, he hasn't went 5. No, he hasn't went 5.
Yeah.
Jan does have those for 5 rounds, unless he gets wrestled and pressured forward against. Again, when people are willing to stand in the pocket with Jan wins 10 out of 10 times. When people are willing to let Jan take a step forward and themselves take a step back, Jan wins 10 out of 10 times. When Jan is forced to take a step back, he's no Stipe Miocic. He's not going to knock somebody out with a backstep or during a backstep. He just doesn't have that ability, and he also doesn't fight nearly as well off a back foot. He tends to throw panicked shots when he's on the back foot. We saw it against Aljamain Sterling, unfortunately. So I don't think it'll be any different. The biggest difference is, instead of a reach advantage a reach disadvantage that he suffered against Aljamain Sterling in that fight, I think he'll suffer a strength disadvantage in this fight against Merab.
Yeah. I think that'll probably be the difference here, in terms of where you can maybe favor one of them. Because again, stylistically, I mean, they can do everything anywhere, but I think that strength might be the big factor here. We might see over the 5 rounds.
I really think so.
Can he sustain it? Or can he just get him done? Can he just put him out earlier? That'd be wild to see him put Jan away, man.
Absolutely. And I mean, since you brought this fight up, I mean, I obviously was not expecting you to bring this fight up first. I guess we could just go ahead and jump right into the Kinda Okay Parlay, guys. MMAnomaly presents the Kinda Okay Parlay. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans of all ages. It's time for the Kinda Okay Parlay. And Steven, we did go over Cedric Dumas. I actually may or may not be able to get an interview with him this week or next week. Fingers crossed on that. Super stoked.
Root for us. Fingers crossed. Good juju.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy. He actually responded to me right away.
There we go.
So anyways, we will definitely, I'll go over Dumas again in detail later on for you if you want a little encore for that one. But jumping into the Kinda Okay Parlay, as you might have noticed, we are missing 1/3 of the 3-leg parlay pals here. The Kinda Okay Parlay. Obviously, we are not the actual parlay pals. That's Helwani and the boys over there.
Shout out to them, though.
Shout out to those guys. Those are the real heroes. So we are going to go ahead and put that up on screen now and give you a little look at that. So we have Said Nurmagomedov minus 240 favorite here, money line. That was TNT Piz's pick there. And then, of course, moving into my pick, we got Merab, the machine, Dvalishvili, giving us those plus 210 odds, bringing us back here with the money line. And then the third, last but certainly not least, we got Alexander Romanov pulling it together for the last and final leg of the parlay here at minus 155. bringing those odds up to plus 622. $15 will get you 108.37. Now we're going to go ahead and go to Emiliano, and let's hear you go ahead and break down the rationale behind Romanov. Let's put some intensity on it.
Let's go. The battle of the Alexanders. Who will be the greater of the two? Drum roll. You know what? I don't know. Leading into this week, I will say I did feel like Volkov was the more savvy veteran. The dude's built like a skyscraper. He gives a lot of people problems, right? He's been in there. He's 45 wins. 45 wins. I was going to say fights, but no, that's 45 wins that I think he will really lean in on in terms of experience against some top caliber heavyweights. That's one question that, I guess looking at Romanov, I was a little worried. But to be honest, looking at his tape, they call him King Kong for a reason. He's an impressive 16-1 record and has shown the ability to be able to throw these big boys around. I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to see somebody's at the flow. Somebody's at the flow. Going to see Volkov at the flow. I think that's what's going to happen, though. I think he's going to show off these wrestling skills, take him down, eventually put him away. Maybe by submission, maybe by TKO. I don't know, but my money's on the greater of the Alexanders. Give me some old Romanov. And I'm out.
You love to hear it, man. You love to hear it. Look at that confidence. He's ready. He's got the pick. He's locked in. I hope you guys are locked in. Obviously, T-Piz is not here to explain his rationale behind his pick. If I had to guess, I would probably hit him with one of these. Now, the reason that I picked Nurmagomedov, Saeed Nurmagomedov, is because he's a Nurmagomedov. You know what I mean? Concordantly, ergo, vis-a-vis. That's the way, if you ask me. Nurmagomedov, gonna get it done. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's go, baby.
You take that to the bank. You take that to the bank. You know I'm taking the Piz. That's
I had to mute myself. That was I thought he was in the room. I thought he entered the chat.
You know what I'm saying? The ghost of T-Piz past was in here with us. Always here in spirit. We freaking love that guy.
Oh man.
So
miss him already.
Boom. Nurmagomedov, Saeed. If you didn't heard what I said, Saeed is supposed to get it done, money line. And you already know me. I picked a man, a myth. One could even say a machine. Merab the Machine Dvalishvili. I think he gets it done. I've already went on a rant not even 20 minutes ago ad nauseum. I think he has the better grappling. I don't think he has the better stand-up, but I think he has the answer to the problem that Petr Yan presents, which is dynamic stand-up, moving forward, moving backward, landing those Muay Thai strikes. I think Petr Yan's best assets are going to be his Thai clinch and his kicks, which I think kicks are going to set up the takedown for Merab the Machine Dvalishvili. I think the Thai clinch is going to be something that fails miserably and backfires when you're utilizing it against a Merab Dvalishvili. And I think that it is, lo and behold, time that the Kinda Okay Parlay hits. Damn it. So this is the time, okay? Follow us to the ends with this one. It's going to hit. And if it doesn't, you can bet your bottom you'll see me on Sunday apologizing for the fact that it did not hit.
Let's go.
Kinda Okay Parlay.
Let's go. I was just saying, you can hit me, okay? You can hit me, okay? Hit your pillow, hit something. That's going to hit. I know that's what's hitting.
Let's go.
Boom, we do, baby.
Up. Get freaking fired up, dude. Get fired up for the Kinda Okay
I'm
Parlay. My Red Bull's empty. I'm going to go get another one. Gosh dang it.
Oh, it's coursing through my veins. You know, and
put it on an IV drip.
No funny business, all right? We didn't try to do the over-under, no victory methods. We're just like, yo, clean cut. We're taking
money lines.
The winner. Straight money lines, man. No funny business, all right? We said it. We Saeed it, all right? We getting it done. I got the right Alexander. He's the great one, okay? The other one's a phony. He's a little too old, okay? Though he's a dog. He's a dog, but he's a phony. Phony dog. Give me Romanov. And then honestly, our boy. I like it, man. I like it. You hit the nail on the head, man. I don't even need to say much more. Just tune back in, what it is. And we'll let you know what we spend that money on. Who knows? Maybe some new shirts for me. Maybe a new backdrop. Couple of things. A haircut.
We will also be doing some fun little side bets. I don't have any like themed banners to throw up in the episode today, but if and when any of those hit, I will throw those up on Twitter for the receipts and be like, "Hey, look at all this money I made." And when they don't hit, I probably will still post them and be like, "Hey, look at all this money I almost made." Almost. So close. Last week we went 13 out of 14.
So close.
On the Vegas parlay, the Vegas picks parlay. I bet all 14 favorites, and the only one that didn't hit was Valentina Shevchenko for the first time in like 10 years.
26 seconds away.
Yes, Drew. John Jones, the GOAT.
Oh,
it pains me to say it. John Jones is the GOAT. If you take away PEDs and all that stuff, John Jones is 100% the GOAT. There's nobody else even in the discussion. If you discredit somebody for taking PEDs, testing positive, etc., then it's gotta be GSP. He did all the same things but didn't test positive ever. So
true. Clip that first part. But si se puede, vive la México. Let's go.
Si se puede. I learned that from a Disney movie.
Encanto?
No, it was an older Disney movie. I think it was actually called Si se puede.
Coco? Oh, Si se puede. Oh, dang. Classic.
It was like old. It was like Disney Channel. Like old Disney movie. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the OG ones. I still caught the wave of the Disney Channel movies. I got a few in mind. I saw one for Smart House. Oh, there we go. So what you know about Cocaine Bear? Ooh.
Oh, Cocaine Bear or Cocaine Jones? This is a good debate, guys. I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one. When it comes to Cocaine Bear versus Cocaine Jones, it's going to be a close fight. It really depends on who has more cocaine. That's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen, because if John Jones has more cocaine, you bet your bottom dollar he is going to treat that bear like a young Khabib Nurmagomedov. He is going to take him to town. He is going to shoot a double leg on him, and he's going to steal that bear's cocaine. Emiliano, what you got?
I could see some ears getting bitten off here. I don't know. It's going to come down to the pictograms, I think, when it's all said and done. I mean, let's be honest. Who's got what, right? I heard there might be a cocaine shark waiting in the limbs for the winner of this fight, so it's exciting stuff. I didn't realize the producer of that movie, I forget her name, but she was in other movies as well. So I was excited to see that she came out with that one. It's a hit. I got to go watch it in theaters. I got to do my game tape on Cocaine Bear, right? I haven't seen the film yet. I got to do my research. But Cocaine Bones Jones, I mean, hey, those pictograms, man, they don't mess around. They don't mess around, baby. And the reach advantage, that is key.
Jones does have the reach advantage. And again, I think he beats Cocaine Bear. And
he does poke in the eyes really well. He'll poke in the eye.
He does. He'll poke in the eye. He will kick him in the groin. I don't even think Cocaine Bear wears a cup. I don't think he's wearing a cup. He's not ready.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of variables. A lot of variables for this Cocaine Bear versus Cocaine Jones.
Well, I think we broke it down pretty well, though. I mean, we gave it a good plus 215. Those are good odds.
Those are good odds.
Solid odds.
So this is, I don't know if you saw his parlay. His parlay is Dumas by finish, Aldrich, and Span Krylov not to start the third round. That Span Krylov one is the only one that worries me about that. Actually,
they're at a catch weight, right? That is the interesting thing here.
If I take my heart out, the Aldrich one is a really good bet. Dumas is a really good bet. And Span Krylov, like I said, is the only one that worries me just because Span can be a really slow starter. And sometimes Krylov doesn't really have that kind of kill switch engaged. You know what I mean? He doesn't really have that, what's the word I'm looking for? Urgency to finish.
Like that next gear.
Fights.
Yeah.
You think Span in round 1 or Krylov in round 2? I don't think you're wrong necessarily.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that...
Oh, shit, that's a 3-round fight now, isn't it? Because it's not...
Yeah, it's not 5 anymore. Yeah.
You know what?
And it's at a catch weight, like so it's a little... I wonder why, right? I mean, who... Was it because Krylov was hurt? Is he still compromised?
Krylov got food poisoning when they were supposed to fight.
Right. So, yeah, well, so if no injuries, then was it just because of the sickness?
It was just because of the sickness,
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Drew saying Superman. I mean, I think Superman gets it done, to be completely honest. And I do agree with Steven. Span's been opening up lately. He has been doing a lot better in the first round, second round. He used to start so slow and showed zero urgency in the first round. It's like the guy didn't warm up in the back at all, and he came out cold. Like that's literally what it looked like. And some fighters are like that. But at the upper echelon of the light heavyweight division, you really can't afford to be that way. When you're going against people that genuinely have the illest of intentions when fighting you, and all they want to do is knock you out. It just
Span, man, that last victory he had over a guy we talked about earlier, Dominic Reyes. And the way he did it, it's hard not to think of that punch and think, man, if he could deliver one of those, it'd be like Superman hitting you with no kryptonite either. It'd put you out.
I really think that just betting Superman round 1 might not be a bad bet.
Probably catch some good odds, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because looking at his last 5 fights, all of them, win or loss, have finished in the first round via TKO or submission. He got that guillotine over Ion Kudalaba, which didn't have that on my bingo card. Tell you that.
Right? Yeah, that's that would have bought you a new mortgage if you hit on that one. Yeah, no one saw that coming. But yeah, I think I agree with you, Steven, though. I think round 1, if there's going to be a stoppage, it favors Span. But Ken Krylov weather the storm, uses the different tools that he has in his toolbox. Maybe pick them apart, maybe make it muddy early. Make it a clinch game. Maybe get him on the ground, or just showcase. Maybe stand outside and just not be on the receiving end of one of those haymakers. It's going to be tough to see, but yeah, I mean, hey, we'll be tuned in.
We will definitely be tuned in. That's all the MMA fights we're going to go over, but I did want to talk just a tiny little bit of boxing with you. Just real quick. There's one big fight coming up here. So again, I just wanted to talk a little bit of boxing here with you. We got a big fight coming up here with Gervonta Tank Davis going again against King Ryan Garcia. You guys in the chat, please let me know who you got. I want to throw those up in here, and I don't just want to see like Ryan Garcia or Gervonta Davis. Tell me who you got and tell me why or how you got him winning this. Emiliano, how do you see this going? Do you have a favorite in this fight? Do you have a dog in this fight?
Oh, I wish I would have been able to see the press conference and all their face-offs prior.
I wanted to catch you off guard with no research on this one.
I love it. No, I was really close, but I was at the gym. I had to get my curls and whatnot. But no, honestly, this is an exciting one, right? I do feel like Ryan Garcia to come out.
Still has the ghost punch. If by ghost punch you mean he hits you and you don't know you're being hit until you wake up as a fucking ghost. Yeah, he's got the ghost punch. The kid is lightning fast.
He does have some heavy hands.
I'll let Emiliano make his points before I go in on Ryan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, again, I hope he's all the hype, right? I mean, again, we've seen him go off against some good boxers, and frankly, he's not fought anyone as good as Gervonta. As much as I wanted to see another Mexican fighter go out and do his thing, I personally do think Gervonta Davis is special. Yes, Ryan Garcia is fast, but I think Gervonta might be faster. I think his defense is better. I think he could go out there and put him out, in my opinion. Gervonta has fought some really good guys and beat them in pretty dominant fashion for the most part. He has a lot of things going on in his life in general. There's potential it may not even go down because I think he was some arrests or whatever else. But all that aside, dude's talented as all hell. He's special, I think, when it comes to his ability to slip, move, and respond with some heavy punches. I don't know if Ryan's ready for that. I'm leaning Gervonta. I think, is it a 12-rounder?
That's a great question. Let me look that up.
I think if it goes longer, maybe that favors Ryan Garcia, but there's a good chance Gervonta could catch him early with a couple of knockdowns, maybe in the first or like in the early rounds. Maybe Ryan Garcia starts to come back, but I think Gervonta would probably win by decision, depending on the rounds.
It'll take place over 12 rounds. Yeah, it's a full regulation.
I don't even know if Ryan's gone 12, has he?
I mean, has Tank?
Maybe not.
Tank's only gone 8, dude. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think both guys have only gone 8 rounds. So
let's check.
It's a 12 round fight, and I definitely don't think that this is going to go the distance, no matter who wins this fight. If I'm being honest, this is going to be one of those times where we completely disagree. I think in the last 5 years, 6 years specifically, Garcia has actually faced tougher opposition, in my opinion, than Tank has. And Tank has power in his hands. He has undeniable power that Garcia doesn't have. But Garcia has speed. And I think that Garcia is going to have a little bit more speed when it comes to entering and exiting the pocket to land shots and evade damage. I think because of that, Garcia is going to pepper him up in the first 2 rounds, land a bunch of shots. And if he's smart, he'll go to the body and do really good body work early, because Tank has this really, really solid upper level defense where he's able to rock and move his head. But something that's much harder to move out of the way or out of the line of fire is your body. And if Ryan Garcia goes to the body early, which we've seen him do in some of his fights, not all of them, but a couple of them, if he goes to the well early, I call that stacking away money for a rainy day. And rainy day is going to be round 3, round 4, when all it takes is one of those to make Tank drop his hand significantly. And then that's when he starts getting lit up on the top. Again, this is going to be one of those fights where I don't by any means think it's going to be one-way traffic, but when the time comes, I will probably be putting a small bet on Garcia.
I like it.
It's at 136 pounds with a 10-pound hydration clause too, so 146.
And they both fought around that weight, so they're both pretty similar. Ryan Garcia being a little bit taller at 5'10", Gervonta's like maybe 5'6", 5'7". Might even be shorter actually. I gotta double check that real quick. But I did look. We were talking about rounds or how long they've
Tank
gone.
is 5'6", Garcia's 5'10".
Yeah, 5'6".
And it's a 68.9 inch reach versus a 70.1 inch reach.
So that is something to consider. In terms of rounds, it looks like Tank Davis has 122 rounds total. Ryan Garcia has 85. Obviously, that
I definitely agree with Steven here. Garcia was definitely faster under 130.
Yeah, so him going up a little bit, it's not going to favor him in terms of that speed advantage.
Not going to favor him. No. But if he's able to do things the right way, he can pile on some hurt bombs. He can put on some power.
And he's young. He's only 24. Yeah, I think he's just getting bigger, right?
He's a child.
Maybe he's just, yeah.
I think the biggest tale here is going to be the fact that Davis is a southpaw. That's pretty big, right? Like, how many southpaws has Garcia actually fought? Not a ton. And you can fight like 5 southpaws and all of them are going to attack you differently, in my opinion. There's no like tried and true methodology. It's kind of like fighting an orthodox fighter, right? Like, if you fight 5 UFC fighters that are all orthodox, they're probably all going to have very different striking styles, different entries, different like things that they do extremely well and things that they leave holes in when they're doing. So I do agree with Steven. It favors Davis for sure, it being a higher weight class. I think the lower the weight, the more it's going to favor Ryan Garcia. But I also think that Ryan Garcia is a smart kid. He's got really, really smart coaches behind him and nutritionists behind him. I don't think he's going to take this lackadaisically and come into this kind of ill-trained. I think it'll be a really close match, man. I think it's going to be probably the most exciting boxing match of the decade.
Ooh, I mean, it's hyped, right? It's been a long time since we've had a number 2 ranked, in a class, a contender versus a number 3 ranked, opponent in that same contender.
Yeah, like
contender in that same class.
It's been a long time since we saw the people that are supposed to fight each other in boxing. Like,
that's not a
Manny
YouTuber,
Pacquiao
for
was
Christ's
coming
sakes.
up days. You know what I mean? Like,
no kidding.
Like, real talk. Like,
they're
Manny
both
Pacquiao
in
was
their
one of the
primes.
last boxers that was like, when he was really good, was down to fight anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
You don't see that nowadays. There's so much politics in it, and
Canelo's the only one I'd say that's willing to go out there.
As well. Canelo's a beast. Love Canelo.
He's carrying the whole freaking boxing sport on his back right now. So this fight's gonna really, and then Jake Paul, for Christ's sake. I mean, geez, KSI, which I'm excited to see people do it. But yeah, they're pro. Tommy Fury, but no, I'm excited to see this bout. I think it's gonna be huge for the sport of boxing. That's something I used to watch with my dad growing up.
I used to watch boxing with my grandpa, so
I'm sure he's excited as well. 2 young dogs of our age. let's see what they got, man. Hopefully we get a lot of it, right? And curious to see who else is on that card. Maybe we'll have a breakdown for that or something. Maybe a fun little special episode.
We'll do a full episode. We'll look at I'm imagining it's going to have a decent undercard too.
I'm sure. That's exciting.
But, dude, a lot of people don't realize. I think it was the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren fight, but like Garcia was on that fight card. So was Badu Jack. They were on the undercard underneath Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. Think about that.
I think
we're
talking
about
right?
two of the best boxers in their respective weight classes.
Yeah, I think that's the last time I remember seeing him fight, to be honest. Yeah. Garcia, maybe he's fought one other time since then, but
it was Davis. I think it was Davis that was on that card.
Oh, was it Davis?
Yeah, I think it was Tank Davis that was on that card.
Oh, maybe. Actually,
I want to say he was on that card.
I think you might be right.
Yeah,
it's like a Mexican or some.
Yeah,
boxer,
it was definitely him on that card. I think he was like the co-main event, and then right before him was Badu Jack.
Yeah, and
which is always funny to me that they keep putting Badu Jack right before Jake Paul fights, because it's like, if you're buying the pay-per-view anyway, at least tune into the co-main event so you see a real boxer.
Start promoting him on there. That's the boy. Maybe, maybe Jake starts. I don't know. Maybe they're in cahoots. Who knows?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Good to see y'all.
What's up, guys? Keith Peterson. No nonsense.
Nice. Just smell the stogies from here.
Does Javid Basharat go? That's a fantastic question. I think he has a lot of potential. I think it's really going to come down to whether or not he gets pushed the right way. Because if he gets the Darren Till treatment and he gets kind of pole vaulted to the top too fast, it's going to be a downhill trajectory for him. But I mean, in his last performance, he looked absolutely fantastic. Not going to lie. Curious to know what you think there, Keith Peterson. How far do you think Javid Basharat goes?
Man, 27 years old, 14-0. The Snow Leopard. Oh, I like his name, tell you that much.
The Snow Leopard. Actually, interesting question for the chat. Who do you guys think that he should fight next? Javid Basharat. I mean,
135. That's stacked.
He put on a show, right?
Yeah.
I think that division is extremely stacked too. So realistically, oh God, and he's 14-0. Again, he's one of those guys where hype. That's what I'm afraid of, is him getting too much hype. Because if he gets too much hype, he's going to end up getting pole vaulted to the top, and it's just going to be all bad. MMA Joey said Merab has no chance. MMA Joey, you're breaking my heart. You're breaking my heart, Joey. He's my pick for the parlay. I can't have that happen. He's got to have a chance. Come on. I'm intrigued to see how MMA Joey would see that fight going now. Like, does he see Merab just getting smoked by Peter Yan? Oh gosh. Okay. All right. There's some misleading. There's some tomfoolery going on in the chat room.
Dude, I like it. A lot of commotion.
Grosso hit your parlay last week. Grosso made my 14-leg parlay blow last week. She was one of 14 that didn't hit.
She lost us so much money, but she won everyone else a ton. How did that work?
Absolutely happy for you guys. Absolutely happy for everybody that hit their parlay on Grosso. My God. Next time you guys are going to pick an underdog that big, can you please just loop us in? Let us know. Let us know what you see.
Yeah, spread the love, y'all. Jeez.
I feel like maybe these people are messing with me. I don't know that MMA Joey actually loves Yan. I don't know. I
haven't confirmed.
Dude, O'Malley is definitely pound for pound king material. He beat the unbeatable Eddie Wineland.
He's got the best merch.
Who else has ever beat Eddie Wineland? Eddie Wineland's like Chael Sonnen. Undefeated, undisputed, and also best mustache in the game of MMA.
That he does
If you disagree, you can get right the hell out of here.
Don't let the door hit you.
No nonsense, Keith is spitting facts. That's a fact. That is a fact. Do you think Colby takes the Shavkat fight? Do I think he should take it? Yes, because if he doesn't, he's going to lose any and all relevance that he has left. Do I think he does take that fight? Probably not. I don't know if he's ever going to fight again.
He's waiting for a money fight. Yeah, I don't know. I think he said somewhere he was offered a few fights, but they never came to fruition. I don't know what happened, but yeah, love to see him get in there.
JJ Smoke coming in with not even smoke, dude, just straight fire. I think Javid Basharat should fight the loser of the upcoming fight this weekend, Jonathan Martinez versus Saeed Nurmagomedov.
Fight's gonna be so fun.
That's
goodness. Solid. I like it.
I think that's a fantastic fight. And I like stylistically how he matches up against either one of those guys. I think JJ Smoke just hit the nail on the head there.
Biggest test for him, yeah.
Drew said Don Fry's mustache has something to say. That's fair. Don Fry actually does. Don Fry has like the hardest mustache of all time. It's like...
He's got the dad mustache. He's got that grandpa stash.
Dude, Tom Selleck's mustache saw Don Fry's mustache and retired.
Weiland's got the cool one. He's a little more swaggy.
Yeah, he's got
the lip
Weiland
and
looks
everything.
like the old English boxer.
More distinguished.
Yeah.
It's
the
old
beautiful.
boxers.
It's a good look. It's a good look. Dude, the ref with the long beard definitely beats Weiland, but is that his mustache?
No, it's a beard, but
right?
he braids it.
He does the braid. Yeah, he's got like the Viking braid. Yeah.
Dude, he would just choke you out with that.
I'm pretty sure my fiance has a huge crush on him. He's definitely her favorite ref. Every time she sees him, she's like, "Oh, I love him." I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. I'll never have a beard that epic." So he definitely seems fun. And I'm not even mad at it. Like, I have a crush on him too, low key. Look at that beard.
Very impressive facial hair. I mean, even I can't get any hair in my body that long. Like, that's pretty impressive.
What is the ref with that ridiculous mustache that goes down to his knees? Oh yeah, you're talking about the same guy. Yeah, he's a straight up G. I don't know why I can't think of his freaking name right now.
I haven't seen him in a while. I know.
Dude, swear. I think it's because he's been doing a lot of TV work. He's been on like a lot of those Sons of Anarchy style shows and things like that. Oh, there she is. There she is. The fiance in the chat. Major crush. Thanks for the confirmation, babe. Appreciate you.
AJ Smoke.
All right, here we go. We got some more. We got some more questions here. Let's go. Who you guys got in that fight? Martinez or Nurmagomedov? I have Martinez in a razor close fight. So, being completely honest with you, I'm going against our usual third co-host here, T-Piz, and our Kinda Okay Parlay. He has Said Nurmagomedov. I actually think Martinez might get this done and blow our parlay this week, but I hope I'm wrong. I definitely hope I'm wrong.
Don't you put that curse on us. Don't you put that label on here, Ricky Bobby.
I'm sorry.
I'm going Said, and I said it here. He's talented, man. He's a Nurmagomedov. How are you going to go against a Dagestani? How dare you? How dare you?
Mike Beltran, that's his name. Oh, man.
Finally.
There he is. Mike Beltran. Mike, the one with the most. Do you think Usman will get his belt back, Emiliano?
I do.
You think he gets it back next week?
I think so. Is it next week?
Oh, it's next week already,
I'm so excited.
Dude.
I haven't heard much about that at all. Why aren't they promoting that
I'm not a basketball fan, but I got to tell you, big fan of March Madness.
There we go. Yeah, get your brackets
all these
in.
Fights.
All these fights. I know, man. I do.
It feels
though.
like March Madness with these
he's
fights.
one of the, he's a gamer, man. You know, I think he did let that slip, but we know he has one of the best coaches in his corner. I mean, that probably should have been drilled in years ago, but hey, they're gonna drill the hell out of that, and that's probably his only blemish. And frankly, I think that's one of the only chinks in his armor. I don't think there's a lot of other ways that Leon Edwards wins. I mean, 4 minutes and 50 seconds shows me otherwise,
Hey, thanks, Spence. I appreciate the sub, brother.
Appreciate
Sorry to cut you off, Nano.
No, I was just going to say, 24 minutes showed me that Usman has his number, but I'm leaning Usman. You got to go with the boy.
As much as I want to go Usman, I feel like he's a very, very cerebral fighter in the fact that he's not only like cerebral inside the octagon, but outside of the octagon, right? And I think coming back from a loss like this might be one of those things that breaks him. He might overthink it coming through. He might change his game up so much to the point to where he's hesitating in there. He's gun shy. We've seen things like this happen in the past, especially after somebody eats their first big knockout. That being said, I think he wins via domination. No, I'm just kidding. I think Leon Edwards actually should be able to go out there, and even if he's not able to dominate the entire fight, I think he's going to find a path to victory, and I think he gets it done.
Definitely.
I don't know why. I think it happens.
I think it is going to look different for sure. I will agree with you there. He's not going to be gun shy in this fight. He's going to have all the confidence in the world. And a part of me still feels like the pressure's on Usman still, right? Like Leon has 100%. Nothing to lose. Yeah, he's a champ. He lose the belt, but people still aren't going to really, like, I don't know if he's a favorite, right? Like, I think Usman's still probably going in. People are thinking he's going to landslide him. No pressure whatsoever. Go out, be loose, swing and bang. Hoping for some fireworks that night. It'll be fun. I don't think it'll be as dominant or one-sided. I think it will be a little more competitive because he is so confident. Yeah. But Usman has the tools. I think he'll win by points or by the takedowns, just blending it all together.
Absolutely. And I mean, both these guys are guys that are very big on riding the confidence levels. Leon coming off of a big win. Usman coming off of arguably his biggest loss in his MMA career. I'm very intrigued to see how those hold in the cage. And I will be watching the embedded episodes very closely, seeing what they're saying, seeing how they're training, things like that. I always love watching those types of things. And like for our private DraftKings cards that we host, like I will change my card or my picks like 5 times leading up to that Saturday based on what I see at weigh-ins, based on what I see on embedded, etc. If we're putting them on the parlay, it'll probably be Usman. But as far as side bets, I may or may not end up having a side bet on Leon next week, guys.
There we go. Do you think Will Harris will be following around Usman again for maybe some more video capturing? I forget what the channel is. I want to shout it out, but
Anatomy of a Fighter.
Anatomy of a Fighter. Hopefully we can get an episode of that as well.
Usman will just stomp on his feet the whole time. Yeah. I definitely think those foot stomps were probably the decision maker in his last few fights. Usman, king of foot stomps. Let's see what Izzy said here. I think whoever wins between Leon and Usman should fight Khamzat next. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be mad at that, but I also would rather see Khamzat versus Shavkat. I think that fight, if you injected it into my veins, it would be incredible.
I love that.
Or Colby. Yeah, like Khamzat versus Colby, Shavkat versus Colby, Shavkat versus Khamzat. Put them all 3 in the cage together and just let them all fight each other. I'm happy.
That'd be sick.
I'm very happy with that. Let's see. Do you think if Usman wins his fight and defends about 2 more times, he's up there where George St. Pierre? Oh man, I don't know. It's hard to say. And I don't know why.
Very similar paths. I mean,
very similar paths. I think just GSP had the allure. And maybe because he was there so long ago, he almost feels like this mythical creature, like a dragon in the octagon. Yeah, what do you think about that, Nano?
Well, GSP's my guy, man. You've known that. It's hard to say. I mean, I will say from, I guess, a resume perspective, like George really doesn't have much blemishes at all. Like I think 1 or 2 losses he's had, he's avenged them in dominant fashion. Took some time off, came back and won. I think that is maybe the icing for me. You know, no other things outside of the cage or anything like that. He's clean, good resume. And how dominant he was back then. I feel like that's why I would give GSP the edge. But Usman's a dog. I think like he had some really close fights with Colby. I think that was maybe a blemish early on, but then he came back and dominated him. The run he's been on is pretty epic. I think if, like you said, if he does go defend his title, get a couple more victories in dominant fashion again, it'll be hard not to. I mean, especially where the game is now, like the fighters he's going up against. I mean, even a Colby Covington would give George St. Pierre, I think, a tough time as well. So I didn't really answer that. GSP's my guy, so I'm biased. But Usman, like I said, if he does what you said he does, then yeah, I mean, he'll take the cake.
So if you really listen to what Nano said there, he's not impressed with Kamaru's performance.
He's like, there's not a market. I need you up and down.
Yeah, he's I feel like the legacy isn't there compared to where it is for GSP. There's lots of talks right now in the chat about John Jones's foot. And I don't know if you guys saw, but John Jones said in an interview post-fight that he would not fight in the UFC if they don't let him tape his toes.
That was, interesting.
And all I have to say to that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans of all ages, is Chael Sonnen, years later, even in a defeat to John Jones, still lives rent-free in John Jones's head. I don't know if you guys remember John Jones breaking his toe and it facing the opposite direction that it should have been. Like his big toe looked like a thumb. It was facing the opposite direction of the rest of his toes. And ever since then, he's terrified of breaking his toe like that in the octagon. It's because he was in such a hurry to take Chael Sonnen, Mr. Undisputed, Mr. Undefeated out of there. Chael P, the original gangster Sonnen. So
Chael was talking about that recently. He was on Andrew Schultz podcast. It was a really good listen, by the way. Super entertaining. But he made it sound like Jones had that injury, like maybe he noticed it in the corner, but then still went out, put him away. And then like during the interview and all that, like noticed it. Cause I don't know, Chael, you never know if he's saying the truth or not. But he was like, he's like, if I had the chance to take that victory, like, and would have got DQ'd or whatever, he's like, I would have raised the gold up and said, the only golden rule is that the gold rules or something. Like he had his lie, like he's like, I have it already. Like I would have exactly what I said. I love it. Chael's hilarious. So yeah, that is funny. He still haunts him to this day. And that was interesting hearing Jon Jones say that so definitive. Like, if they won't let me do it, I won't participate.
Yeah. Dude, could you imagine if they would have shut him down and been like, all right, I mean, we have to cut the tape off. And he's like, all right. And he just turns around and walks back to the locker room.
And was I the only one thinking, like, yo, okay, like you have all this weird tape and whatever you're doing. I was like, why didn't he just tape the whole ankle and just have this like cast or whatever, making it all obvious with the extra tape and shit around. So that was weird. I thought, might not just tape the whole ankle, maybe wrap that up too or something to kind of cover it. But
he just didn't want that big toe to do the splits, Well, it was nasty. I remember that interview. He didn't even realize it was broken until Joe Rogan got in there, and he's all, "Hello, Joe Rogan," and he looks down, and he's all,
"I think it's broken." He's like, "I'm gonna sit down." He's like,
"I'm gonna sit down."
Take a seat. Yeah.
Joe, he broke his toe. He just realized it's broken.
Joe, your foot's broken. Oh, yeah, it's definitely broken.
It's definitely broken.
Definitely broken.
So there's some chatter in the chat here. Chatter in the chat. Izzy has a good point. He doesn't think that the UFC will do Khamzat versus Shavkat yet. That'll probably be for the belt. I do agree. Whoa. I think that'd be an extremely fun title fight if and when they do that. Do that. That's a fun word to say. Fun way to say that.
Poop.
So, so yeah, if and when they do Khamzat Shavkat, if it's for a belt, that's going to be such a good pay-per-view. The build up to that is going to be like something out of a Rocky movie.
If Colby's not fighting, man, that can be the number one contender fight, I guess, right?
I'd be there for that. I'd be there for that to headline as a main contender fight. And Izzy also said if he thinks if Usman wins, he retires. I don't think you're wrong. I think Usman probably feels like he's done enough in the sport already, and he's had a hell of a career. If he wants to retire and sell off into the sunset with a win, do it. It kind of ruins the division, or rather leaves the division wide open, in my opinion. If that happens, then I'm just going to pop up your previous comment, and then we do Shavkat versus Khamzat for the vacant belt. Because why the hell not? Colby's nowhere to be found. Jen said, "Where is Colby?" And Drew, I think, hit it right on the head here. Colby's hanging out with 21-year-olds drinking Bang Energy, making commercials so bad that they have to cut the volume. So,
just also, being cringe.
Dude, I have to hear your take on this. So, Chase and Tori said he thinks Usman had tougher opponents than GSP did.
No, I mean, GSP's resume is pretty stacked. Matt Hughes, Johnny Hendricks, before twice. USADA, yes, twice. I mean, my goodness.
Johnny, when he was as juiced and fueled up as a big rig.
Yeah, hyped up on Mount. Yeah, dude.
Johnny Big Rig
than a big rig. Yeah, bro. Jesus. Matt Serra. Trying to think. I don't know. I mean, I guess it is. The division is talented, and the game's changed. You got to acknowledge that. But I think
everybody's on steroids. It's true.
That is true. So Chael said.
That's what Nick Diaz said too. Chael just said everybody's on steroids, and I'm one of them.
Yeah.
What is it that
just
he says?
Like
mostly clean, mostly natural,
mostly. Oh man, yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, it's stacked, right? If Usman goes and beats Khamzat and Shavkat or whoever else is out there now, I mean, it'd be hard to say. Then you're really making a case.
Hall of Famers and a different era. It was a different era of
it's
MMA.
Hard to compare.
He fought Hall of Famers, and honestly, the way in which he beat people was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I think GSP is the GOAT for me. And then
in his prime, you just put his skills up. It's like it's
hands
tough.
down the GOAT of that weight class. And then if you talk all-time MMA GOAT, if you're disqualifying people for being on any kind of PEDs, Jon Jones is out of the case. It's GSP. If we're saying like let everybody juice to the gills and we're just going to base it on everybody's resume in general, Jon Jones. It's not even a discussion. And I hate Jon Jones, but that's a fact.
Got to throw Khabib in there too as a maybe dark horse.
If we're talking about most dominant MMA presence, Khabib, hands down. Never lost a round, never bled his own blood. Like he was absolutely incredible, dude. But again, as someone who trained at AKA and loves Khabib, I wouldn't say he's the greatest of all time. I would say he's one of the best of all time, and he is definitely the most dominant of all time. If I was Chael Sonnen, I would have gotten the title from Jones breaking his toe. I would have retired immediately. Oh, facts.
That'd be hilarious.
100% facts, JJ Smith.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
He'd just drag it out as long as humanly possible. He'd make Dana take it from his clenched fist.
Oh my God. Here we go, Drew. Conor won a round on like one judge's scorecard, bro. Either way, he lost the fight. He never lost a fight. There was no, dude, he's undisputed. Come on.
Dude.
Like, I get that you're a huge McGregor fan, Drew. I get it. And it's fine. I love you. But come on. Khabib is one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant of all time. Okay, fair. That's more than anyone else. He did win a round against Khabib on a judge's scorecard. And that is more than anyone else. Facts.
Yeah. No one's even sniffed that.
How old is the fight with Kobe Covington and Matt Hughes?
Wait, I think maybe how does the fight?
How does the fight with Kobe Covington and Matt Hughes go? That's a great question, actually. I think Matt Hughes' wrestling was this next level, dude. It's hard to say. I like Kobe. I don't like Kobe outside the octagon. I don't like him when he speaks. But when he's inside there, I watch his fights, and I think he's fantastic at what he does. That being said, boy, oh boy, that would be a fun fight to see.
Yeah, that's a delight.
Bro, Drew, get out of here, bro. He fought all strikers. Give me a break. He fought wrestlers too, and those guys didn't win a round. You should be happy. He fought your boy who's a striker, and that guy won a round against him. Maybe you should have fought more strikers.
Should have fought more for sure.
Oh, here we go. Top 5. Jones, GSP, DJ, Silva, and Aldo. I don't think DJ gets talked about enough.
Yeah. He's still doing it, man. What a G.
Still doing it. He's such a stud.
They should have been doing it for the UFC. We lost a lot of greatness. At least he could have really been building his resume. I forget what happened. You know, a lot of just disputes, or I guess they snipped. Was it because they snipped the division and then he left, or was that?
No, they were talking about removing the division, and he basically got traded during those
traded
talks.
Him.
They traded him for Ben Askren. Which was a great trade because it blew up Jorge Masvidal, who nobody really knew about before, other than like diehard MMA fans, right? So wasn't a bad trade in hindsight.
DJ might still be champ.
Okay, Drew, we get it. You hate Khabib, all right? It's fine. You hate Khabib. I hate Conor. Somehow we're like best friends, and you know what? It works. This is why we don't have this conversation super often. I think Usman, let's see. I think Usman is over Khabib. Khabib just didn't stick around long enough. I agree. I would put Usman above Khabib, just because Khabib didn't stick around long enough. If Khabib would have stood around like another, even just 2 or 3 years, got another like 4 title defenses or so under his belt, it would have been very hard to argue that he's the best. But because he retired so soon, so early, it's hard to call him the best. That being said, I don't want to bore you guys to death and make this thing go all day long. So real quick, this is the Kinda Okay Parlay one more time for those that missed it at the beginning of the show. We have Saeed Nurmagomedov, minus 240, money line. Merab Dvalishvili, plus 210, money line. Alexander Romanov in the Battle of the Alexanders. Loser has to change their name to Frank, minus 155, money line. And that's bringing us up to plus 622. We got 15 on it to win 108.37. I think this is it, guys. I think this is the week we hit this Kinda Okay parlay. And as usual, I will post the receipts for the other parlays on the Twitter. Make sure you drop a follow over on Twitter for me at MMAnomaly. If you want to drop a follow for this other guy, you definitely should. I'd highly recommend it. It's at Jive Turkey Talk here for Nano on Twitter, and coming soon to all other platforms as well. And of course, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and smash that bell for notifications, folks. And until the next time, we will see you then. Later, guys.
See you later.